Good morning, everyone. Gotta get this angle right here. From the Canine Concierge Transport, Kathy Brooks here with a rant. Yeah, I'm going to rant this morning in my Harvey Milk t-shirt. I was just in the Bay Area and was chatting with a friend about the situation that she had with a dog walker. Here's what I know to be true about the pet care industry. The barrier to entry is pretty low. There are little to no regulations around the people who are caring for pets. There are little to no regulations or restrictions around quality of that care, training for individuals, licensing, insurance, anything. So pretty much any schmuck can say, I'm a dog trainer, and start training dogs. Pretty much any person can say, I love dogs, I want to spend my day with dogs, I'm going to open a dog daycare, and just do it. Some people could say, oh, I want to make some money, I'm just going to walk dogs. And there's good and bad thing. For the record, I'm not a huge government regulation person. I don't have a huge desire that the government regulate everything and get up in everyone's business. But governments exist for a reason. Regulations and requirements and licensing exists for a reason. And it's called safety. It's called quality control. And you would never leave your human child in the care of an individual who was not properly licensed, trained, insured. You would never do it. If you would, perhaps you shouldn't have children. It's the number of people who are willing to just hand their dogs to me without asking me any questions is kind of appalling. People say, oh, well, it's money. I don't want their money. I don't want it. I don't want the money of people who just think they can foist their dogs off on somebody. That's not, it's bad business. You shouldn't want to give your dog to me until you've had a chance to find out, how am I going to care for your dog when your dog is in my care? And not just me, but who do I have working for me? Who are the people that I have on my staff? What training do they have? So a couple of weeks ago, I dropped in to a dog facility here in Las Vegas. It was a Sunday. I had just come from a spin class. I was not wearing any Hydrant Club gear. I was not in the Hydrant Club vehicle. It was my personal car. And I didn't lie and say, hi, I just moved to town and I want to use your services. I just said, hey, I'm interested in your place. And no, they didn't ask, I didn't tell. I was appalled. So the lobby was really nice. The lobby was really clean. It didn't actually smell bad. If you have a trained sniffer, you could tell that they were kind of masking other aromas. Before they took me through on the tour, they announced on a PA system through the building, tour coming through. Now, I'm not entirely sure to whom they were announcing it because I only saw 3 other staff. I saw somewhere around 65, maybe 100 dogs on property. So that's warning sign number 1. One of those people was, 2 of those people were in the back just doing grooming, so they weren't even dog handlers. And then one of the other people was out in back doing kind of like cleaning up the play area. So there was really effectively one person managing and monitoring the dogs. They were all there were 2 lab-sized dogs in a box, essentially, that was really no wider than this vehicle, which is not that wide. They had some suites. The tour started walking through a set of glass front suites with kind of fake wood. I'm guessing it was sort of vinyl sheeting floor. You could see the seams in the vinyl, so if there are seams, open seams, there were in the playroom, the concrete was all completely cracked. The surface was completely broke up and cracked in places. Concrete is porous, so if it's not a sealed surface, that means pee and poop and vomit and any other dog secretions can get into it, which means it's really going to smell, and I will tell you that it did smell. There were two, when you walked through this hallway, this corridor of the suites, the first two on either side, the minute you came through the door, had blacked out glass. That's where they put the reactive dogs. So the reactive dogs had the most exposure to people in and out. So that's a good idea. Those suites had no bedding whatsoever, no corunda beds, no mats. Mats were extra. If you wanted your dog to have a mat or a bed and you didn't bring your dog's bed from home, you had to pay extra for that. No water bowl, no toys. Most of the dogs were in what I would describe as about 3.5 to 4 foot wide by about maybe 4 foot deep boxes with plexi fronts and stacked. So they were stacked 4 high. And like I said, in one of them there were 2 Labrador-sized dogs that were not, they couldn't both lay down and lay down really fully comfortably. The vast majority of the dogs were anxiety panting. So like that really kind of rapid panting, wide-eyed, whale eye. You could see the whites around the edges of their eyes. Very, very anxious body posture. You know, these are dogs that come home from these places and they're exhausted. Like, so, okay, have you ever been so upset about something where you've cried and cried and you cry yourself to sleep and you wake up the next day and you're exhausted? So it's kind of like that. These dogs aren't tired because they've had good, healthy, balanced play. They've exhausted themselves with anxiety. Now, there are some dogs that can only fare well in a situation like that where they're in boxes and isolated. And I saw some of those dogs there. Dogs that are probably best in that environment. Of the 100 or so dogs that I laid my eyes on, I would say more than half were pretty miserable. And I can guarantee you that most of those owners didn't do an in-depth tour of the facility. Folks, if you're gonna leave your dog in somebody's care, you should be grilling them for a good long time. What's their training? What's their background? What, you know, do they carry comprehensive insurance? How are their staff trained? What do they do in case of an emergency? Do they know how to break up a fight? You know, my answer is the way you break up a fight is that 99% of the time you stop it before it starts. The vast majority of dog fights in dog facilities shouldn't happen in the first place. It's because of poor handling, or lazy handling, or incorrect handling, or unskilled handling. Lack of staff. What's your dog to human ratio? How many dogs is each human responsible for? And if they say 15 to 20 or 25, say how many at any one given time. Because the way a lot of places will get around it is they'll say they handle 20 to 25 at a time, except there's 20 dogs in 3 separate play areas. And one person is responsible for all of them. That's like 60 dogs. It's a lot. I'm really good at what I do. I would never want to handle that many dogs. That's just crazy. Okay, what else am I going to rant about today? Yeah, you know, dog walkers. You have somebody who's taking your dog out into the world. This isn't even... You should be exponentially more stringent about the requirements that you put on a person who's putting a leash on your dog and taking your dog out into the world. At least in a facility, they're in a contained environment that is theoretically insured, bonded, and licensed, with staff that knows what they're doing, with walls and secure fences and secure walls and doors so the dog doesn't get loose. What if your dog walker has your dog out and your dog pulls out of its collar? What's your walker going to do? How many dogs are they taking at a time? Do they allow retractable leads? Do they walk dogs in harnesses and halters? Or do they walk them in corrective collars? Do they put a corrective collar on your dog when you're not around? Where do they take the dogs for walks? What kind of urban dog handling experience do they have? Do they ever take your dog off leash when they have your dog out? If so, where? Is your dog in a fenced environment when your dog is taken off leash? What other dogs is your dog exposed to? These are all really, really important questions to ask. You know, if somebody is taking your dog out into the world, like what if they get to your house and for some reason your dog doesn't want to go to them? What protocol do they follow for getting a hold of your dog, getting your dog leashed, and getting your dog out of the house? What do they do? In my friend's situation, the walker was, I'm guessing, probably in a hurry, had a bunch of walks stacked up. It was somebody who only walks one dog at a time, which is good. But they had the walks all stacked up. And so when the dog wouldn't come to them, they reached in and grabbed for the dog. Dog nipped at her. You know what? You grab for me too fast and get into my space too fast, I'm going to bite you too. Well, maybe. Okay, yes, I might. So, at least figuratively. So, what is the walker going to do in that situation? And, do they have a protocol? Because you know what? If your walker, if somebody gets bitten by your dog and that person goes to an ER, your dog gets reported to the authorities. And if your dog gets reported to the authorities, depending on where you live, you could face a fine. Your dog could face pretty serious repercussions, up to and including euthanasia, depending on the level of the bite and whether your dog has a previous bite history. And any dog professional needs to know these things. I feel so much better. Thank you for letting me rant. So, the bottom line, don't just trust any schmuck with your dog. I guess that should be a given. But I guess it's not. Okay. So with that, I'm going to go on my merry way. I hope you guys have a great day.